Hello and welcome to the Granger podcast. I am your host, Kirk Bjorlin, City Administrator. On this podcast, we'll provide current updates on businesses, schools, public interest projects, and more. Today, we have a great interview for you, but first, we'll jump right into community updates. And for your community updates, Fairway Stores will be opening December 17th. Granger Economic Development Association will be sponsoring a ribbon cutting Tuesday, December 30th at 10 a.m. for the new opening of Vintage Road Coffee here on Broadway Street in Granger. Thank you, and that's all for your community updates. We're right in the crosshairs of the metro coming this way. And so we feel, as the city, we feel pretty good about where we're positioned. We have our infrastructure laid out. We're on both sewer and water. We feel good about our positioning. We feel good about, our land use plan. We have a lot of relationships with landowners, but, we're looking at setting that stage. And part of what we want to focus on from the city is pulling in where it's not just us and it's not just the developers. Group, thank you for joining the Granger podcast. My name is Kirk Bjorlin, your host. Today with me is Dr. Chris Janning with Janning Family Chiropractic, and Alicia Van Drumlin, who is our new Park and Rec Director, also Community Engagement. Thank you for joining me. Let's kind of kick off our recent event with GETA, the Granger Economic Development Association, and kind of a holiday event. Chris, Alicia, welcome. Chris, you want to kind of start off, talk about the exciting events and last
absolutely.
night?
Thanks for having me. Last night we hosted our GETA business open house. So essentially we had invited every GETA member in the community to kind of open or host an open house in their business. So from 4 to 6 community members could come out, tour the businesses, kind of get to know the businesses that are in the community. It was kind of a bingo style event, so you stopped at every place, got your bingo card stamped off, and then at the end of the night there was a awesome free will donation dinner by the American Legion at the community center. We had some prizes that we gave away up there, and then we also finished everything up with a tree lighting. So community tree lighting that we brought in. Santa came down on the fire truck, so it was a great event for the community to come out. We had a fantastic showing. I think the snow we thought was going to scare people away, but I know at our place we counted almost 200 people come through the door, so it was really great. We want to thank everyone for coming out last night with that and joining our event there. So.
Yeah, I think one of the things I want to accomplish, and I'm going to give these two a little bit of grace. So I gave them a call and said, "Hey, let's do a podcast." I said, "Well, can you send us a script?" "Nah, we'll wing it." So I'm going to give you a little bit of grace. But let's talk. We kind of set the tone for the event. It's kind of our first time in going to this level. We did one last year. The goal is, how do we get to that next step? I want to back up a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about GETA, the Granger Economic Development Association. It's something that we're working forward to kick off as we grow as a community. We don't have a Chamber of Commerce yet. The city's doing economic development and doing the programming, but you may talk a little bit about, we're in a little bit of a hybrid situation, and we're bringing Alicia on board with the city, with community engagement, and at the community center and the Park and Rec programming. We have the Granger Economic Development Board, and I'm going to give a little bit of plug here. We are in the throes of voting for a new president. I'm interim, and I'm going to put emphasis on interim. We have 2 people who did a wonderful job getting the event kicked off last night. But with that, let's talk a little bit about Granger Economic Development. What is it? What are kind of our goals? What does membership look like? If you want to talk about that just a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and the group itself was developed years ago. I know they were very active earlier on when Sturgeons were here. And then I kind of went into a hibernation period for a while. And this is our 3rd year now. We decided to kind of kick it off again, try to get the group going again. There's so much growth, so much development happening around the city. So having a home for that to kind of stir in the right direction and, both have the city's pull, but also having the community membership, having the business owners, having a kind of an ownership amongst the community to lead that group and to show development and steer that in the right direction was kind of one of our goals there. And then, like Kirk said, having, it's a small community right now, but having a home for kind of a chamberist type event too. So last night was a great event for that too. Really, it's great to obviously draw new businesses in, but having a avenue to help promote the existing businesses and even just gather as business owners to kind of develop that networking avenues. It's a great source for that too. So
Right.
that's one of our main goals there. So membership is an annual thing. It's $250 for a member to join. And there's, we try to do several events throughout the year. I know we've done this open house twice now. We've done some community service days in the past, kind of get out in the community and do some cleanups and do some tree planting as a group. And then there were some development groups as well. We had agents or landowners and developers come into a kind of an open house and sit down and just do kind of a meet and greet there too. So great events there as well.
Yeah. So kind of the goal of what we're heading for is as the community is poised for growth. And again, I had said this in some previous podcasts. We don't own the land, so we're not here overly promoting, and there is a little bit of pushback at times. Hey, we don't want to grow. We're right in the crosshairs of the metro coming this way, and so we feel, as the city, we feel pretty good about where we're positioned. We have our infrastructure laid out. We're on both sewer and water. We're in conversations, and we'll talk about later in this podcast kind of what our marketing is and partnering with Mid-American Energy and Black Hills and the Des Moines Partnership, Greater Dallas County Economic Development Alliance. But we feel good about our positioning. We feel good about our land use plan. We have a lot of relationships with landowners, but we're looking at setting that stage, and part of what we want to focus on from the city is pulling in where it's not just us and it's not just the developers. What is the vision for the community? How are we going to, Alicia, with your group? What are we doing for activities? How are we, both the youth and the young adults and the senior citizens, but pulling in GITA, and that is the acronym that we're using, but pulling in GITA and expanding that platform so that we get buy-in, we get the community, helping us put that together. So that's the exciting part of doing this. We are a little bit of a hybrid, from a chamber perspective, but the value is we're bringing community members together, businesses together, and how do we expand that? So, we're excited. Locally, here in a couple weeks, or here in about a week, our new Fairway will be opening. We do have Mel and Vintage Road Coffee is coming. Will be opening soon. Looking to do a ribbon cutting at the end of the month on Broadway. So we're out promoting, what are those next businesses and what are the things we want to do. So, Alicia, it may give you an opportunity that Chris and I are sitting here talking, but before we get into some more discussion on planning and marketing, maybe just give us a quick update. I know there are a lot of things moving quickly with the park and activities. You may talk a little bit about that. You do have now 3 parks. Well, actually, there could be more
4.
depending on neighborhoods. But yeah, you may just give a quick overview of that. It is important for us as we're attracting businesses. What does our local activities look like in community development and parks and rec? So you may briefly touch on those parks and exciting. We do have a new 26-acre park that we're in the throes of planning. So.
Yeah, so currently our functioning parks right now are Centennial Park and the Community Center recreational area. Future plans, we'd like to create a comprehensive plan of all of our parks and phase out what that development and funding will look like. We have Triangle Park that is just north of the Community Center. Yep. We also have our new 26-acre park that's just north of the new middle school that's going in. And then we also have Eagle View Park that we have kind of a plan set for what we'd like to put there, a playground, half basketball court. And so we just need to move forward with constructing that.
Right. And for
And
the listeners, that Eagle View Park is up in Twin Eagles,
yes,
kind of up on the northeast side of the Twin Eagles development. So, and we do how those types of parks come about is we do have a land ordinance and a park ordinance that when a piece of property is developed, that there needs to be either land dedicated towards a park or there is funding that goes towards an existing park or to develop a park. So that's how that park came into play.
correct.
Good. Let's kind of transition now. Next stages. Last night was the snow's coming down and we have the bingo cards which different community members could go around to different businesses. I believe we had 12 businesses sign up and individuals going around to those, and we want to thank those businesses. We'll get those out on the webpage and social media for the Granger Economic Development Facebook page. And for those others who are members who didn't have the opportunity to participate, we'll get that information out also. But let's talk about the evening. So the night's set, we're doing a Christmas tree lighting, we're meeting Santa afterwards. What do we feel this is a loaded question, but the downtown area is one of our major focuses. And we did the night, the snow's coming down, the community members were coming out. We're in an exciting phase now. We're talking about developing a Main Street program and how that might occur. And I think this group can be key for that. Who do we bring to the table and what does Main Street Granger look like in the future? And Chris, you're a longtime resident. Alicia, your family's here. What's that? What could this program develop into? We have Fairway downtown. We have a few businesses, and I'll kind of go into and set the stage. Maybe after some of your comments, what we're thinking, and we'll kind of react off of that and get your feedback. But I think this Granger Economic Development Group can be key in pulling a Main Street revitalization group together so that this downtown area gains that traction.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you look around the surrounding communities of similar events like this. It's always, not to get too hallmarky, but it's always great to look at that,
Right.
downtown, city square, kind of Main Street area to kind of look as your key focus on awesome events like this. And so, I mean, obviously, we're blessed with the community center and it works great, but to have that downtown area, you can walk from business to business, you can visit all those places and really stir that economic development and economic growth. It'd be a great place to kind of refocus this community. It's something that's never really, well, historically, I think it has been there in the past, but it'd be great to have revitalize that and beautifies that and get that back to where it needs to be, where, it's a central location of the city. You can walk
Right.
from visit to visit or from business to business and really capitalize on that space. So
Yeah.
it's definitely something exciting to think about and kind of focus on as our group.
Yeah, and
continues to grow.
as he's talking, I'm sitting here thinking, I cut you off on where we were heading with. So let's backtrack, which you two both know me, and that I tend to get wound up, and let's head in a direction. But let's head back with Alicia and some of the park things. We started to talk about the 26 acres in the Triangle Park, but you may kind of go into more on the planning of those. We do have 4 parks. I think you guys have some exciting kind of what-if things that you're looking at for both Triangle Park and the 26 acres.
Yes, definitely. The biggest need that Granger has right now is an indoor recreational facility.
Yeah.
We do not have a single indoor court. We rely heavily on our schools to be able to provide those amenities, and we are very appreciative of that. But we are large enough that now we do need an indoor facility. So definitely some basketball courts, volleyball courts, some type of recreational facility that everyone can use year round.
Correct.
One thing that's already technically constructed. We've already leveled out the 26-acre part, most of it,
Right.
and there is a retention pond already dug out. So future plans for that retention pond is to make it a fishing accessible pond, possibly a walking trail around that pond, putting in a fishing pier, maybe a restroom, so that will attract more people to come fish there. We do have Windcrest Pond over by the elementary school, and we've already got plans in place to get that cleaned up and beautified for
Yeah, talk about
fishing.
that. We receive, we get some feedback. We do have some runoff from some farms that come into that pond. So at times it's been a little bit difficult to keep the nitrates and things out. But we just approved funding, and you may touch on that briefly so the community learns a little bit about that pond and what your plans are to clean that up.
Yeah, so because we do have farming next to it, there's a lot of sediment that is going into that pond. So we really can't dredge it up and really renew it right now. What we can do is keep that vegetation and algae under control and make the water clean, help the fish
Right.
have their habitat a lot more healthy, so that we can fish in it. So that's the plan. We're going to contract with Aquatic Control. They're based out of Ankeny, and they're going to provide that herbicide, algicide, vegetation control for us so that the fish are nice and healthy in their habitat.
Good. Exciting. So it doesn't mean that in the future that we're not community, that we won't dredge it, but at this point we're being told by the experts it doesn't need dredging.
No,
It just
not
needs
yet.
needs managed and cleaned up. So City Council did approve a contract to do that come next spring, and you also received information that the study is a healthy population of fish in there.
Yeah, bluegill and bass is our healthy population, and we are getting catfish stocked again this coming next fall in 2026.
Good.
Think about that.
Yeah. So
Hard to say.
transition a little bit back to up to the 26 acres. So for the community, for the listeners, we contracted, did some bid letting and contracted for a construction company to come and put the 26 acres within 1 foot of grade.
Yes.
And the goal with that is let's get that within a foot of grade. Rough concepts. If you see the maps that are out there, those maps are placeholders. The goal was we know we had to have a retention pond. Let's get the retention pond dug. Let's get the depth and the width there, which will be a healthy size pond when it
Yes.
fills, and we're hoping by spring that occurs. So you've been talking with DNR and others, how might we plan for that? The rest of the facility, if you happen to see a map, everything else on there is a placeholder. We graded 2/3 of the property from the west to the east to get within 1 foot of grade. The other third, we scraped the topsoil off and we piled that. So the goal now is retention pond, parking, field space.
Yes.
That field space could take a lot of avenues. We've looked at anything from what's Norwalk done and turf space, and how might you take a pod concept with 4 different fields that you could have 2 soccer, you could have 4 softball, you could have 1 baseball, 1 softball, different configurations. Short term is sod. How do we grow grass and get the youth out there for places to play? So Alicia right now has some plans. We're talking to companies, not heading out to bond or to spend the money yet, but we are putting the plans definitely in place. What does that look like so that when we are in a position to do something, or we have corporate sponsors or vested interest investors come forward and want to do something, city's in a position to make that happen. So it's exciting the work you've done on the pond. I think it's exciting to look at, what are those plans going to be in the future for a fishing pier and something else up there. And as a kind of the give you a lay of the land, there's a joint road north of the school that is half on the school, half on the city. So that will be the entrance. And then we're looking at, what does the future planning look like? So we don't have a lot of fixed plans yet for that. We have some concepts, and that's what we're looking to move forward on. So, yeah, thank you for your work on that. I want to talk a little bit. We started talking about the Main Street program. There are state funds and different things to resurrect a downtown Main Street. As the event was occurring last night, and we were in City Hall and the fire station with fire and EMS, it just struck me that you look out the door, the snow's lightly falling, and not to be too nostalgic, but you're thinking, what could the event be and what could the city be in the future? Our current concept is we have the new business park out along Highway 17. We have Fairway opening in middle of December, which was a week away. We have the new roundabout. We have the Reader Corporation, who has some concepts, mixed use over on the east side of Highway 17. We have several lots around Fairway. We have a lot north of the post office. We know that's going to develop. Then what's the old Main Street look like? What's State Street look like, and what to the north, and what's Broadway look like to the south? We want to put the group together, and I think Gita will be a key invested partner with the city. What does that look like in the future? What do the sidewalks look like? What do the roads look like? What do the businesses that are in there? We have some businesses, buildings that aren't currently being used, and there's some storage in there. Pains the city a little bit in that's a non-conforming use. But we want to put a plan together, partner with Granger Economic Development to how do you resurrect that? You mentioned the music and the snow, and I think that's our vision.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of great businesses down there already. I mean, obviously you have the restaurants, you have,
Yep.
Vintage is coming to the coffee house, you got the vet's been there forever. I know I'm leaving businesses out, but there's a lot of great backbone down there already.
Yep.
Obviously to, get some funds available to revitalize that area, open up new spaces for more businesses. I always tell people that one of the greatest blessings I had when coming to town was, I was able to get into a space and get started with a very low overhead because the space was there. I didn't have to go buy a hunk of land and build a brand new building to start my business. And so I always view it as a huge blessing that I was able to do that and start here in the community here. And so to give that same opportunity to someone where there's a existing space that they can come in and give a diner a shot, or give whatever their business is, give it a shot, make a go of it, and risk it on in the town of Granger here would be fantastic. So really looking forward to getting that group together and seeing what we can come up with.
Yeah, I think the continued vision of that, we want to, and this podcast is kind of setting the stage for that, is what does that 3-street area look like? State Street and Main Street and Broadway. The Vintage Road is getting ready to open down on Broadway, and City Hall and the fire station. One of the things that we've talked about as a community is we are looking at where do you put a public safety building, and the bond passed. We're interested in doing that. We paused that project a little bit in timing because the school bond had passed, and the city decided that we didn't want to both bond for a road to the school and do the public safety building at the same time and jeopardize raising taxes. So we have done the Sycamore Street. Bless us that thing gets done by June. It's been a whale of a project for the community with utility conflicts and things, but we now are in the position Sycamore get completed. Our bonding council is telling us some of our evaluation and growth is increasing enough that bonding capacity is there and will be there. With that, kind of setting that stage, as we envision a public safety building, there is a concept that for a while EMS and fire and police move down there, there may be a concept that City Hall, for a short time, and whatever that time may be, may move with them. And what is encouraging that to happen is we could take current City Hall, police's trailer that's out back, and then fire and EMS station. And what we've talked about is, how do you get that back on the tax rolls?
Yeah.
A concept to do that is, now we haven't put any plans in place, but if you look at the event that you guys hosted last night, and people walking around town and in and out of businesses and getting to know, wouldn't it be great to have that concept in our downtown area, with Fairway and the coffee shop and the Mexican restaurant and Bud's Pub already down here, kind of anchoring that? How do you expand upon that? One of those things we would like to consider is, we could, if we built the public safety building and City Hall moved with that, we could put the current facilities that we own. There are some plans in place that perhaps Public Works, they already have a facility out at cold storage out at the water and sewer plant. We're looking at another facility to get errands and Public Works equipment out of downtown. So we could take the Public Works garage, City Hall, Fire and EMS, and then remove Joe's trailer, and we could put that property on the market for sale. If the city does this, and this is in concept only, but if the city does that, we could incentivize someone to purchase that property, with the caveat that you have to tear it down. Now, you put some tax incentives in there to encourage that to happen. But then we would look at, would someone put a fourplex in there or something along that line, so that when we have this event at some point in the future, you have this natural revitalization occurring, where you have new businesses downtown, and that starts encouraging. We do have and I might butcher the name, the old gas station up on the corner across from the school. It's great storage, and we're having conversations with the owner. It's great storage for his cars. He's telling us at some point they won't be there, and they would perhaps do something with it. And then you have the storage units there. Good for the owners, probably, as the community matures, probably not the best thing, land use for that, but we'll see where that goes. We can encourage them to do something with it. And then we have some other businesses down there. I think that's part of getting this group together, and how do we encourage that. But what a fun thing that would be, to have like a new fourplex in there.
Absolutely. I mean, it's so much more space for businesses and development, and we're all blessed to have Grimes so close, but having things right here local, allowing that tax base to grow, allowing to support the schools, it's obviously the goal we're trying to reach for. So it'd be great to have.
So I have you two in here. I have you locked in the room. I'm taking that yes, we're on board. This may be the beginning of the Main Street Committee. We're looking at, let's bring more people in. But that's a concept we've been playing with, and I think that needs to come before the community, come to a council meeting. We talk about that. What's the community want? Is that something that we could do? Can you bring economic development to the downtown to revitalize it, to update the sidewalks, the gutters, maybe some of the street paving along the street. So you have that. Last night just kind of encouraged me to say we need to release a vision. I don't want to be the one to set the vision, but I do want to kind of paint the picture of, here are the things we've been talking about within the city, is what does the downtown look like? And what's that walkability look like, and how might, the program that you guys put on and others, how do we encourage that? We have a trail going, you can walk across and get to the elementary, and that trail takes you to the community center.
Yep. And soon it'll go to the middle school
It will, and then it heads north.
and the future park.
Yeah, and then it heads up to the park. So it starts that walkability in kind of a downtown vision, and then we have Granger economic development becomes more vital, and our activities that we're planning in the community can be more exciting. So last night was a wonderful event. You want to talk a little bit about numbers? Number of people, and maybe, and for those who weren't able to attend, kind of what the evening was like and prizes and.
Well, Chris, most of the attendees started with you. So how many did you have?
Yeah, so we tried to start the focal group right there, their clinic. We counted basically almost 200 people. So this includes children, but 200 people through the door. I think we gave around 70 to 80 bingo cards out. Hopefully most of them made it back. Obviously, the goal was to make every business. I know, and I guess as the viewers, hopefully this might already be out when this happens, but we're looking at putting maybe a survey out to kind of get the feedbacks of the community. Obviously, everything we talked about here today, I think it's a great part of Granger is we're so involved, and so getting the feedback, doing what the community wants us to do, and where we want these type of events to go. So we're really looking to kind of get your guys' feedback as far as timing of the events. Is it a little too long, too short? But yeah, hopefully everyone made it to all 12 stops. And then again, tried to create kind of that sense of communityship. So at the end of the night, we met together, had that dinner, which was great to see everyone in the one room together. And then obviously the tree lighting was pretty awesome. So I know Granger Days in the summer is a great community event. And I think that's something this town really hopefully can build upon is creating those community type events come together. Granger is so awesome because it's obviously such a mix of different communities come together. We've grown so much in the last 10 years. I think that's one thing maybe Gita can focus on too is finding those areas where we can create that communityship and that fellowship and come together. So hopefully that continues to grow that and foster that type of environment. But if you want to kind of share the prizes and what we focus for.
Yeah, so over at the community center, our part of the community holiday event, we had along the trail that's right in front of the community center, we invited nonprofit organizations that were tied to Granger to be able to put up Christmas displays for a contest, and we had 5 organizations that participated. The winner was Granger Public Safety Auxiliary. It was very close. Granger Women's Club was right behind them, so
Good.
very
Same.
close.
Good.
We had over 100 that voted for the displays, so that was a really good turnout. The winner did get a $250 donation from Gita as being the winner of the contest, and
Good.
that's an incredible donation to their organization. So next year, as we continue this, we're hoping more organizations participate and get that chance of not only for the community to be able to see their display and what they're about and get to know them, but also be a part of community events. That's what we really like to do is add these nonprofit organizations in with our businesses and Gita and everything that Granger has to offer. And then also at the community center, we have the library. They provided Christmas ornament making for all the kids to be able to either take the Christmas ornaments home or put them out on the community Christmas tree, and I saw a few on there, and they look great.
Good.
The library did have over 300 people participate.
Wow.
We counted everybody that walked through the door, and over 300 came to make
Excellent.
Christmas
Amazing.
ornaments, and that's awesome.
Great. That's awesome.
Yeah, and then for our community meal, the American Legion, they provided some pork loin sandwiches and hot dogs and beans, and that was a great hit. Everybody said it was delicious, and they
Great.
loved it. I know they had over 100 that they fed, so that is pretty good. And then during the dinner, once everything was done with the businesses, we rounded up all of the business bingo cards and we pulled for prizes. The first was the NEX PlayStation system. That was given out, and then we had 5 gift cards. So we had B&B Theaters, the Recplex over in West Des Moines. They have like ice skating and different things you can do there. We had the Science Center of Iowa, Climb Iowa, and I'm forgetting one more. I'll remember it. It'll come to me randomly.
Skate Plaza.
No, not the Skate Plaza.
I forget.
I'll remember randomly later. It's okay. But 5 people did win those gift cards, and I believe they were $100 each to
Believe so.
those,
Yep.
which is awesome.
Good.
And then next, Santa came in his fire truck to come light up the Christmas tree. And I have to tell you, like, my favorite part of the night. So we were supposed to have some carolers from
Correct.
Woodward Granger schools
Yep.
that were going to come sing Christmas carols before the tree was lit. Unfortunately, with the weather, their parents couldn't get them here in time, like because they were traveling from Woodward, which is totally okay. We totally understand because that was unexpected weather.
Yeah.
But all the families came out of the community center and gathered around the tree while Santa was pulling up, and all the kids started singing "We Wish You a
Aw.
Merry Christmas."
Yeah,
like
pretty cool to
that
see.
was
Good.
Hallmark movement,
Yeah.
like Hallmark movie moment right there. So
Absolutely.
it was awesome. I loved it. And then Santa had everybody yell "Merry Christmas" and turned on one light, and he was like, "Oh, that wasn't loud enough. You need to do it again." So said "Merry Christmas" again, and then the rest of the tree lit up. So
Right.
it was very
I
fun.
was standing back at that time, and I saw the lights come on, and I thought, you know what? This is probably an area of, I'm just thinking of the Clark Griswold.
Oh.
You light everything up. Anyway, it was I
Oh, yeah.
heard yeah. Yeah. So great event. I think to capitalize off of that is what's our vision, to go to the next step. And I think that is how do we build a sense of community? How do we build that downtown area so there's walkability, maybe there's music playing and we're inviting that economic development and we're inviting that sense of community in the area. We have a tremendous amount of traffic calls and relationships that are considering, do we do economic development in Granger? They're looking at us. It's a competitive environment right now. We are competing against the metro. And if they're paying a little bit more money for development land in the metro, but they're on the edge of West Des Moines, Waukee, and Urbandale, and Grimes, and Johnston, and then over on the east side. So we're in that market now. But my goal is with Gita, how do we bring more community involvement into what we're doing? So it's not just Kirk and the city council or Kirk and the staff, and it's let's get input from Gita and let's, what does this community look like? We have the footprint pretty well established. We're still negotiating with DOT on roads and getting access at 141. But when you look around the community and the vacant land that's there, we pretty well have a footprint in place. I think it's important for the community to have more input through that. And I think Gita is an opportunity. There are a significant amount of businesses, local businesses that have joined. We'll get that information out, posted online. But we need the input, and so that events like that you two put on and the community, how do you take that to the next level and start building that sense of community? I have one other thing I'm going to cover before I move on to that. Any other thoughts of last night, things you want to mention?
I want to say about the Main Street Committee and the other committees that the city is forming. I think that's really the opportunity for the community themselves to have a voice and have an effect on that.
Yep.
And so the more community members we have joining those committees, the better, because we really need that input from the community on what businesses they would like to see, how they would like Main Street to look, and really what they want, because they have a voice. They live here.
They do.
Yeah, one of the things we talked about after our last kind of development meeting was, making that top 5, top 10 list of like what we have the space now, we have the plans in place. What businesses do we need to go after? What does this town actually need? What can we support right now with our current population? So that's a great point. I mean, if the listener, if you have input, if you have suggestions, if you have like something you'd love to see in town, obviously, like I said, we can, if we can put that list together and go after them, that's what we're here for. So
the first quarter, Granger Economic Development, we'll get together and we'll hold a vote. We'll get that information out on social media and kind of the officers of the organization. Your opportunity then is to contact, and you can always contact Chrissy at City Hall also, but that will be the context. If you want to get involved, if you want to be a member, if you want to participate, you can do it through GITA. You can also do it through the city. We have not established a downtown Main Street committee or program yet. That'll be something that the new mayor, Clint Davis, will and the city council, the new city council, will be putting together. But we wanted to get the word out there. We're looking to have a kind of a Main Street program. There's a formal economic development program through the state. We need to look at that and say, do we participate in that and go through the formal process, or are we just setting a vision? And I think probably the answer is both. What does the community want the downtown to look like? And then what programs and funding are out there to help make that happen? So again, the committees aren't set. We do want the feedback, so there's great opportunity. Talk to GITA members. Welcome to join. And we encourage people to join Granger Economic Development so the community is a part of that vision. And then also we'll be putting a committee together for the downtown Main Street program. The only thing I wanted to touch on is we have come a long way in a short distance. So the community has a tremendous amount of annexation thanks to some long-term Granger residents and farmers who were key parts, 50, 60 years ago, 70 years ago, they were, at these tables doing this very thing. And the community was very vibrant back in history. So we're wanting to pull that back. Since 2021, we're probably in the area of around 2,000 acres have been annexed voluntarily, either have been or will be annexed in to the community within the next year. Not a lot of growth and activity happening in some of that area, but there are plans in place for that to happen if a business were to come. With that being said, one of the last things that we're working on that GITA will be a part of is we have pulled a group together, taken the initial leadership kind of out of the city's hands, and we've partnered with and asked one of our Mid-American reps to lead the effort to get the group together. So we're working with Mid-American Energy, Black Hills Energy, GITA members, the Des Moines Partnership, the Greater Dallas County Economic Development Alliance. How do you put a marketing plan together for the community? So of the land that we have annexed, how do you get our features and our benefits into someone else's hands so it's not just GITA, it's not just Chris talking, it's not just Alicia, it's not Kirk out there on, in meetings. It's the Des Moines Partnership promoting us. It's the Greater Dallas County Economic Development Alliance promoting us. It's Black Hills Energy. It's Mid-American Energy putting information out there of there's a business wanting to come to town that employs X amount of people. We do have land that is available. Again, we don't own the land, so we can't say no. We can zone it and grow strategically. And so those are the plans we have in place. We're currently kicking that off, and I believe you two are on that email list.
Yep.
We want to bring that information back to the community. We have a kind of relatively small group to start, but listeners will, kind of a third thing that we'll be doing is what does that marketing plan look like so that we have our information in town. You see Facebook and when's Quick Star coming, or no, that building, that's Quick Star. That's the type of thing we want to promote, and not just Quick Star, but what is that next manufacturing? What is, where's a hotel or another C-store, and where's that next business district? Where's that growth come from? A lot of opportunity. If you look at our land use plan, a lot of opportunity to do that, whether that's up by the school or down behind Willis Auto on Benevetti property. Reader has property. that's being developed by the roundabout, and then we have quite a few lots still available out front. We'd like to see a fourplex of, whether that's there could be a food establishment and
Some retail.
yeah.
Yeah.
So a good opportunity to do that. Granger Economic Development is one of our tools, and so I want to thank you guys for joining me. I don't want to keep you in here too long, but I want to thank you guys for joining me and the input, and listeners, feel free to reach out to Dr. Janning and get more information. If you talk to him, again, with Alicia, she's up at the community center with Park and Rec and our community engagement. You can always call City Hall. We'll get information out to you, but looking to expand our Granger Economic Development Association, looking to, we'll be talking and Mayor Davis will get information out, assigning a committee, do we want to do something on Main Street and what might that look like? And then we're putting a marketing plan together for the community so that we have others helping promote us. But with that, any last comments?
I have heard a lot of comments that the new water tower should be named Warm.
Warm.
Yes. And I like it, honestly. We have our hot and our cold. Let's do warm.
The joke is Luke, right? Lukewarm?
Lukewarm.
Yeah, good.
No, my last comment again, just sincere thank you to everyone last night for coming out. It was a great event. Obviously, thank you to the host, the 12 businesses. I know it's not always easy to close down your business and to go out of your way to make these things, but I think that's what obviously being part of the community and growing that community feeling is about. So again, thanks to all those groups. So
Good.
Yeah, I copy that, ditto. All of the organizations that participated, all of our local businesses and our community members, because we can't have community events without the community. So we really appreciate them coming out and participating.
Good. Exciting.
Yeah.
And with that, I want to thank you for joining me in the Granger podcast, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Granger podcast. Make sure to follow us on social media for updates on the next show, and we'll see you on the next episode. The Granger podcast, empowering success and fueling growth.